Exalted patron of this episode is Ezzy. Ezzy, thank you very much for all the support. But it's not all, because we have a message from Ezzy. I just want to thank your wife and sons for their support of you and allowing you to go on this crazy ride. I'm thrilled, everyone's doing good, I love you all, more eating and sleeping. Thank you, Ezzy, I will. Hello everyone, Venus here.
And I am the Loose Noose Moose Goose.
And this is I Don't Know Podcast because we don't know a lot of stuff but like to talk about them, and we have a lot of things to talk about today.
We have to, let's see, from the top, I think like the fact that the game was delayed. Total Warhammer 3 has been delayed by not an insignificant amount, and the Cathay trailer, which,
Yes.
that's pretty good. I like that.
I like it also, but those are spoilers, so let's talk about us right now. Ryan, Luz, what was your time between our last podcast? What were you doing?
A lot, like a lot, a lot. I've changed careers twice since then. I have moved to a new city in a different part of the state that I'm in the good old US of A. And you can probably tell from my background. Ta-da!
Yeah, we have a new
You'll see a
background.
few wandering cats throughout the recording, I bet.
I will zoom you, so there won't be cats.
Little goblins, but it's fine. But yeah, that's I've been mostly focusing on that. Some just IRL issues. I'm an electrician now. I
Congratulations.
wield absolute power over society now because everyone runs off electricity.
Okay, I would say a very bad joke, but I'm not good at bad jokes.
To each
About
their own.
connection and job and things.
Well, what about yourself?
Oh, there was really a lot of stuff since the Great Plan update. We had several weeks of making hotfixes for the update. Then I had some free time with wife and my son. And we recently moved to Vampire update, so the last update that will be for this game. And last Friday, my son was born. Pretty late
You,
after his date, but he was born, he's healthy, wife is also happy, and I'm waiting for them right now to get them from hospital.
I'm very excited for you and your second tiny Venrus,
Yeah, me
and
too,
I
me
wish the
too.
most for both of all four of you at this point now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's four of us right now. Yeah, it will be a rough time, but I think I'm very happy because uh, last days of labor are quite hard for women, and I'm happy that my wife got it very fast, and we can just move to normal life right now.
Such a powerful lady. Congratulations again.
Yeah, yeah, I'm very
But
happy.
speaking of delays, you want to go on and swap into game three?
Yeah, so we had an announcement last Monday that the game 3 going to be delayed for early 2020. Previously, the release date was late 2021, and I think that no one is surprised with this news, really.
I'm not surprised. I'm sad, but I'm not surprised.
I'm not sad, really. I was expecting this for a very long time that the game will be released, and I think that all the delays are better than having Cyberpunk release state.
Well, maybe sad's the wrong word. I respect and I understand that this is probably the best decision for both the company and for the players who want to get into a game and not have it break for 8 months. I am disappointed though because I was really looking forward into getting my hands on it. And the sooner this damn game comes out, the sooner they can hurry up with that Nagash DLC. They're been holding over my head for 10 years.
You think that the first DLC for Warhammer 3 will be Tomb Kings, same as was for Warhammer 2?
I would be surprised. Probably not. I really just Nagash is my favorite character in fantasy. So I just whenever they announced Tomb Kings for two, I was like, oh. And then whenever they announced Croak, I was like, surely the next legendary hero will be Nagash for like Arkan or something. And here we are without Bone Daddy. So I'm real sad about that.
Yeah, and it was Silostra.
Cry, cry.
Yeah, yeah. Overall, the delay got quite good feedback from the people, from the community. But as I was saying, I don't think anyone was surprised, especially when Kislev and Korn had their showcases. Kislev was shown fully with all units on traders, etc.
Mhm.
And then Korn was shown partially only, and the rest of the units were mentioned or artworks only showed. So I think that there were signs that something is not ready just yet.
Yeah, a lot of like advertising is visual, and of course, people have been waiting. Chaos Game One, give us the actual demons of chaos.
Mhm.
And whenever they don't like full front and center all the juicy stuff people have been wanting, it's like, why is that? I know you want to. I know you would if you could. So
Yeah.
obviously,
And
they're not
also we
doing.
had massive gap without any Warhammer 3 news. Like
Yeah,
without
it was like
anything.
months and months.
Yeah. It was like I don't know 6 months. I think
Was
even
it six?
I
Jeez,
think it was 6 months. I will need to check.
that in that ballpark. Either way, for a game that was supposed to have been coming out later this year, we could have easily gotten news every month or hell, even 2 weeks maybe, and still.
Corn was shown on 3rd of July. June, sorry, on June. So yeah, it's was not 6 months, but was quite a long time.
Quite a long time indeed.
And we had zero information. Now we have a delay, and the reason for the delay is to polish stuff. But I have a theory that it's not only thing, not only that. I think that the problem is also that people are little burned out on the game right now, and Creative Assembly makes delayed so people would want to wait for the game.
It's I mean, yeah, I can definitely understand that. The game is, well, the series has been going on for close to a decade at this point, and even diehard fans who play it like they Warhammer in like all their free hobby time, you're gonna burn out at some point, and it's been going on a while. So this little gap might be best for the health of the game, but it's also kind of risky because it's hard to like straddle the line between, oh, you want it, here it is, and I'm bored because I haven't done anything with it in a long time. So, yeah,
Yeah, the way that the game is advertised is another topic that we need to talk about.
yeah,
But overall, I think the delay is a very good thing. Good that they are doing this. I hope that it will make a game on the release way better because as we can get back to Warhammer 2 when it was released, I think that the release of the game was terrible, especially in comparing it to Warhammer 1 release that I didn't had any issues with, and Warhammer 2 had a lot of issues.
yeah. I've thought for the longest time that two was rushed, and then when we got it, it had a lot of problems, and I would say was not even fully finished until about 8 months later, and fully finished, workable.
Yeah, like a state it should have been on the release. It took
Yes,
eight
there we go.
months
Thank you.
with the release of Norska and the big update that was fixing stuff, moving quality of life changes to Warhammer 1 factions, Mortal Empires, etc., etc.
That also makes me pretty nervous. Speaking of a lack of news, have you heard anything about Game 3 Mortal Empires? I have not.
There's no information about it besides this like one paragraph that was released almost a year ago, something like that. I don't know when the game was even announced. Really, I need to check.
Oh, I'm sure then we're both in agreement. Just like Game 2, Mortal Empires is not going to be out whenever the Game 3 launches.
Oh no, no.
Absolutely not.
I also I think that most people don't get this knowledge. Let's call it that. Game three on launch won't have Warhammer 2 content playable. I'm 99.9% sure that Warhammer 3 on the release will be like as Warhammer 2 was. So without working Warhammer 2 factions.
I I mean, probably, yeah.
It
It's because that's, I don't know. For
There will be
me,
only Vortex map. Let's call it Vortex map again with Warhammer 3 factions, nothing more.
hmm yeah, to me, whenever two released, it was almost like I was playing or paying for a demo of the full game that is Mortal Empires, and
Yeah,
that's
it,
kind
it
of what I
felt
feel like is
like
going
an
with three.
expansion with mini campaign.
hmm And I'm just I'm eager to get my hands on the new stuff just like anyone else, but I we're there for Mortal Empires. That's like the whole marketing for all three of these games, and why it's all this whole series is so expensive at this point. God,
Yes, yes, this is also a thing that gets people out of the game. They don't want to go into Total War Warhammer because when they hear how much money you need to spend on this game, god damn it, this is this is very expensive hobby, really.
yeah, it's keeping in theme with Games Workshop at least.
Yeah, that's right, that's right.
But I mean, also, kind of bouncing off of that and going back to the original topic of Game Three and people getting into games and all that, I don't know if Game Three is going to sell as much as one and two have,
Yeah, yeah,
because it being
because
the third entry in the series, and no one wants to jump in at the end of the book and start reading from there, for lack of a better analogy.
yeah, and this is uh, Witcher 3 will be a good example because Witcher 3 had the best sales, and you didn't need to play first game or the second game to uh, get the full experience. You were able to get into the world without problems. But Total War Warhammer games are not separate games. We cannot. They feel like a part of a greater thing, and the problem is even the biggest problem is right now that even if you get Warhammer 3 only as a game, you are not getting even like a third of the content right now. The content
There,
that Warhammer had because Warhammer 2 is insanely massive
huge.
game right now.
It's
It's
so
huge.
big.
It has so many factions, so many legendary lords. Like it's insane amount of content, and none of this will be on release of Warhammer 3. I think people don't
I don't see it happening
understand
just
it.
because of how much there is. Like there might be like I don't know, like some of the lords and all that might be there. I kind of doubt it. Probably be replaced by generic stuff unless you own the first two games.
Mhm.
Um, which is another thing entirely because I'm not sure stuff from the first game will be there. And primarily, if I'm looking at the Warhammer map right, we're going to be right next to most of the first game's content,
Yeah,
not the second game. So they've got to like squeeze first game stuff in there as well because Kislev right here, and then you have like Oslin and the vampire counts beneath that and all that. So
Yeah, I think we will get the eastern part of the old world without empire.
yeah,
Without empire at all, and maybe they will be like Bretonia was in mini campaign of for the Wood Elves. I don't know if you remember. There were only like a one or two settlements of Bretonia out there.
I don't know, maybe. Because, well, then if you depending on how they cut the map, and unless they cut the map in a very strange way, you also have to think about Norska because I'm pretty sure Throg is right there on the border of what they would bring into Game Three.
Yes, and they were saying that Northscar will get a rework with Warhammer 3. In
God,
Warhammer
I
3,
hope
I don't
so.
know if on the release, but they will get a rework because this is the most aged faction right now in Warhammer 2, and they said they are not going to rework them in Warhammer 2, which is a big shame, really.
Yeah,
It's like leaving the content that was left since release
it
of
kind of
Warhammer 2 that was an advertisement for buying the Warhammer 2 event, and it's really left over.
well, like you have to wonder how smart of like a business decision that is because like Norska, like you said, marketed as the reason to get Game Two, pre-order DLC. You get this faction, and since I've seen what they've done and how they've ignored Norska, I'm kind of on the fence about any like incentive DLC for pre-ordering stuff.
Yeah, yeah. But we made a little side topic as always. This is side topic podcast.
No. Yeah, we
We
do
were
that.
talking about the delay, and we went to how the map will work in Warhammer 3. So overall, we think that the delay is a good thing, and
Yes.
we hope that. Uh, I uh, I also heard recently that yearly means that it's first half of the year. So
Half is still 6 months.
I think it will be around March or something like that.
Fingers
So
crossed.
yeah, we shall see. But we are moving right now to much more happy topic because Cathay trailer was shown, and myself, I had zero expectation for it. Totally
Hmm.
zero because I don't know much about Cathay lore. My only experience with Cathay was that years ago when we were playing RPG tabletop, we had a short campaign in Cathay, and it was terrible, and that's why my hate for ogres came from.
Oh my god, Vinris lore! Keep
Ye-
going. People want to
so
know this.
so yeah, my hate with Cathay is linked with ogres. Actually, not hate because I don't hate Cathay. I hate ogres because ogres were a very big part of this campaign that were our game master had, and it was terrible. And Cathay problem that it was Kefi was there. I just totally, ignored the eastern part of Warhammer world after that.
Wow. So many years of people wanting to know why. Hear that? Man, this could be the title of the podcast. People will watch it just for that.
And why Vendris hate ogres. The story is way longer, but yeah, my hate to ogres is linked with Cafe, and no, I don't hate Cafe or not like it. I just ignored it for years.
Well, my experience with the Eastern Empires of Warhammer is kind of like a shrouded in mystery thing because all I ever heard about them is the Celestial Dragon Emperor, which is a really cool name, and I was hoping he would be one of the legendary lords or something. Uh, I also know that in the end times, there was a lot of talk about them. Well, a lot. There was at least more talked about them than previously. And the other thing I know is like from one of the Black Library novels about Nagash, there was mention of Tomb Kings trading with them for gunpowder units or something. So that, I mean, that's a really old and complex civilization. They had gunpowder back when the Empire wasn't even there. So that's super interesting.
Yeah,
And there's just so much untapped potential that I really wanted to see coming out of it. So far, I'm pretty happy from what I saw in the trailer.
yeah, and we're going to the trailer, and I think that it's the best in-game trailer they made for Warhammer 3 so far.
I can agree. I can agree.
It's way better than the Kislev trailer that had those reused chaos stuff. That was kind of boring for me, really. The Scrabban, so the Corn trailer, the trailer that I was seeing red shit on it because I'm colorblind and I really saw nothing on this trailer. It didn't feel corny for me because I like corn a lot. And then we had this trailer that had great pacing, great visuals,
Hmm.
and a story. I like trailers with a story because it was a
So do
story
I.
of a siege.
And it's really fun. Oh, God. Um, I was really excited about this trailer because going into it, I was like, oh, Cathay, neat. I'm going to learn about this faction I've always been super interested in and nothing about. That's a lot of blue and purple. Zeech! Because of the four Chaos Gods, that's my boy right there.
And we had Kairos there. He will be a
I
legendary lord
know!
for sure. And Kairos sounds perfectly when he roars. He
I know!
sounds so you can hear the vibration of magic in his voice. And when you compare it to the release trailer when the Bloodthirster was roaring, here it's 10 times more intimidating.
Zane's just got a greater display of everything.
Yes,
Kairos running around, or excuse me, flying around, zapping, siege or air balloons out of the sky. We had Chaos Warriors floating in on Disc of Zinch, which is a little bit weird lore wise, but hey, fucking cool.
Yeah, everything is cool. We had the pink horrors or blue horrors out there. We have tons of reskin chaos warriors and other units that
So much
we will
reskin.
be talking in another episode about it.
Hmm.
But we have also, I think, I compared some other trailers, and it's showing the most massive battle in Warhammer, Total Warhammer. None of the trailers battles trailers were giving such a large scope. As you were saying, there are magic everywhere, like artillery. You can see units on the background, on the ground fighting. There is something exploding in the city. This is massive battle. Even the Dark Elves trailer that was showing Siege didn't have such a scale. I was
Yeah,
really impressed.
it makes me. I am at this point deeply jaded about sieges, but I'm a
Oh yeah,
little
because
bit.
there are new ledges above paths in these striders and also in the screenshots. And people are like, this is sieges. If this is sieges, then this is great. You have multi-layered cities, everything. You know what? I wasn't so hype about this trailer and this podcast talking about it before. When I'm talking about it, I'm feeling a little Venris inside that is very happy. It, I can say even a little bit hyped when I saw Cathay.
They did a good job. I am just all over these transforming Cathay legendary lords. I ever since I was a small beardling, I've loved like people turning like transforming into like monsters, giant monsters, that sort of thing. The fact that they are divine super dragons.
So you were little Ryan is going to his mom and mom, when I grow up, can I transform into the dragon? No, Ryan, you cannot transform into the dragon.
I mean, if you look behind me, there is a Shin Godzilla figurine just sitting on one of my entertainment centers. So
I love Godzilla, by the way.
we should do a Godzilla podcast one day.
Oh yeah, we can do a Godzilla podcast. I need to add it to my list. I'm always when I'm watching Godzilla movies, when someone says Godzilla, I'm like Godzilla,
Man,
repeating after them.
my phone background is Godzilla painted to look like like Van Gogh's Starry Night. I,
Nice. I was watching all the VHS movies, etc. I really love Godzilla. This is
God,
like
so fun.
my secret
Anyway,
love.
God, we are so bad at staying on topic.
Yeah.
So we have these two legendary lords that are children of the Celestial Dragon Emperor and
Yeah.
his wife, who is the Lunar Queen. Do I have that right? Something like
I
that.
need to check. Legendary lords. There will be Storm. We have Mayo Ying, the Storm Dragger, and Zhao Ming, the Iron Dragon. So
I'm excited for
Zhao
both.
Ming was not shown. He was only shown as artwork. He is a ruler of the Western provinces and the Lord of Shangyang. And Maya Ying was a narrator. Really great voice.
Hmm.
She's the Storm Dragon ruler of the Northern provinces and the commander of the Great Bastion. For those that don't know, Great Bastion is like a great wall in our real world, and it's like a great fortress that's holding chaos. There is like a passage between the mountains that where the chaos tries to go in the Cathay, and they are not able to because this is the Great Bastion that is out there. And from the post that CA released, looks like that the Great Bastion will be campaign mechanic itself because you will be able to upgrade it and launch expedition up north to kick
This
chaos
is
ass.
one thing that I am a little bit afraid of. Is I don't want them to dump so much. Oh, it turns out that Cathay is the reason Chaos can't take over the world and make
Hmm.
them way too important. Like with the Great Bastion,
E-
they've
we
already, they've already said the Celestial Dragon Emperor is the oldest and most ancient thing, like before the old ones. And I'm just like,
yeah, we have some lore changes in the post that was released, and
mm-hmm,
yeah, this also makes me a little bit worried because when they released the new lore for Kislev, I think the new lore for Kislev is quite terrible right now.
mm-hmm,
They took the magic from Kislev. The Kislev was like a let's say, normal medieval society, Polish, Russian, Slavic, etc.,
Hmm.
with magic being only in the hands of Katarina, and the rest was very primal magic, let's say druidic with
Oh
Baba
yeah,
Yaga,
froze up on
things
me.
hidden in the forest, and all of those were just removed, sadly.
You may want to back out for a second, because for a moment you were like full robot for about 10 seconds. So you may want
Hey,
to
okay.
reiterate on Kislev.
No, I see that it's good on the recording. I will just
Okay,
cut it
good.
out
Okay, never
if
mind then.
needed. Looks like that
Um,
the connection between us is only problematic. We are with those changes to Kislev, and they are making changes also to Cathay lore that had lore in some books and community sites, but saying that the Dragon Emperor, so the ruler of Cathay, is older than the old ones, even as you said. It's a weird thing because from lore we know that the old ones created the when they got to the Warhammer world, it was a dead world.
there were like dragon ogres here and dragons. I think that was
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, it was. So yeah,
I don't want them to come out with Cathay and be like, look at our super cool fact. They let us design it from the ground up. So here's my OC, their Cathay. They're stronger than Korn and smarter than Zinch. I don't want that.
yeah,
And that like they've already elevated the Celestial Dragon Emperor from a badass dragon dude to being on the same level as the Chaos Gods. Holy shit! What?
yeah. They're mentioning Chaos Gods right now. That the Emperor Dragon won't be playable. Same
Yeah,
as you don't have Chaos Gods playable, but it gets me a little bit concerned because they were saying the same about Finebar, so the Phoenix Kings for High Elves, that he will be mentioned, etc. When in reality he's not in Warhammer 2 at all.
not at all. No, he's like in text blurbs for quests you get. That's
Yeah,
about it. I just I'm still stuck on the fact that some mortal born dragon guy is supposed to be on the same level as the Chaos Gods. A lot of characters' driving force in the lore is I'm going to be as powerful as the gods one day. And apparently, this guy just over here, he just is. And somehow
yeah.
Cathay has not taken over the world. I don't know.
Especially comparing him to Chaos Gods is not working for me because Chaos Gods get their power from the warp and the fact that they have worshippers. As long as they have worshippers, they are stronger. That's how Slanesh was created. That's how Hashut became a lesser chaos god, so the god of Dawizar, the dwarves of chaos, because he was a lesser demon that just heard their prayers and they started to worship him, and he became stronger thanks to it.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's the really only concerning thing for me in the trailer
The
that
lore
they
for it is
released.
it makes me nervous. Plus, it just blows out the water. It's been I think an ongoing debate for years in Warhammer. Who is the oldest character? Who's been around for the longest and done the coolest shit? It's my guy. It's the Dragon Emperor. He's everything. He's
It
so
was
cool.
right now the semi-living would be Lord Croak. Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
his spirit is dead. His body is dead when spirit is
Well,
still
I
alive.
mean, you could. Here's the cool thing. We could still argue about it because I could be like, aha, what about uh, Kagranak the Black? My boy Big Drag. I can't remember his name right now. The Sun Eater's dad. Why can't I think of his
Oh
dad's?
yeah, the one that was as big as a mountain,
You
etc.
could argue, like we could argue all day about who the oldest guy is, except now that nope, it's the Dragon Emperor. GG.
Yeah, yeah, it's taking back taking this mist of magic that you were talking about, this mysticism from the
Also,
faction a little bit.
they're kind of with like I'm not against the Great Bastion as a concept, but it's also kind of stepping on what Kislev has been super famous for as like the wall from the north of the Empire, and just I don't know. I just feels like Cathay has been made to do everything.
I think we need to make a podcast about Kislev because I really don't like what they showed with the Kislev.
Yeah.
When I was expecting nothing with the Cafe, and I'm really impressed. really impressed with the units. Uh, the trailer was very good, as I was saying. The dragons are
Mhm.
just like a China dragon style, but I still really like them. I like China mythology, things like that. But let's go to the units that were shown.
Mhm.
One thing that they are not copy paste from Free Kingdoms. I think that people are happy about that.
People were concerned, yeah.
People were concerned about this, and the thing that really got me surprised is the fact that every unit that was shown had their unique models. Like guys with
which
the swords and guys with the halberds had entire different models.
which was sick. That was so cool.
Let's get back to the Empire. Empire have same look for units, same models used for half of the roster. There's nothing like that here. Every unit had different look and different aesthetics to them. That was insane.
It makes me very happy. It also, deep inside of me, I feel like I hope everyone else gets that kind of treatment thing by the time game 3 is done. I have high expectations by the time the full cycle of all three games
I
is
think
done.
that your high expectation just crashed on the ceiling and went very down.
I I understand the realistic, like it's probably not going to happen,
Because we
but
have we have a very very glooming issue that is also shown in this trailer that it kills your expectation really.
you want to say that for another podcast because
Yeah,
it's
there will be
chaos, right?
episode. We will be talking
Yeah.
about chaos and the problem that many YouTubers are made materials about it, but we want to talk about it in a little bit different way. So
Hmm.
yeah, getting back to Cathay, they are looking very good as you were saying. And also their units looks very creative.
They do. I was super excited about that because I expected a little bit, not really like a reskin of existing stuff because there's only so many different ways you can do sword, shield, spear, cavalry, all that kind of stuff. But
Mhm.
working within those constraints, uh, really nice. I'm a big fan of it so far. Speaking of units and how everything nice looks, I really hope they bring back more sync kills for this.
Yeah, I hope. But there was a very good moment about Synkios. There was a mage that was having a magic ribbon or something like was attacking around him, and this
Hmm.
is also very thematic with Chinese ribbon dancers. I don't know if you know. They are like you have a ribbon on the stick and dancing. Think this is a Chinese thing because I checked it. It was also in Kung Fu Panda 3. I know it because my son is watching this movie. And yeah, and everything was thematic with Chinese culture, and I'm really surprised to say it, but I like it. It really felt good. I love this twist with the tarot card statue. That wasn't. They were not small soldiers. It was a giant soldier, and it was
Hmm.
he was part mechanical also because you had heat in him. Growing. You had cogs on his knees and hands. It was like it's not fully stone magical. It's like made by alchemist engineers from Cathay, and
I
damn,
think
it
that's
really
sick.
works. It really works. I even like those balloons that looks useless, but they are looking
Look,
cool.
man, flying artillery is fun. But I here's another thing. I like that they had enough self-restraint to show off the really cool terracotta giant statues, and they didn't just beat the hell out of everything because that would have just made like, all right, guys, calm down.
There
Uh,
was a very cool part that one of the, I think it was a hero, the female hero, in she was talking with a woman, probably
mhm,
sister lover, and she was this second woman was on one of these balloons and she died in the trailer.
mm,
So we had this small history in this trailer. So in terms of story, it was just fantastic. It's what top notch creative assembly for me.
it's a really good. Such a good trailer. Oh
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
But
And with the units, what we have, we had also the gunpowder units. They had some kind of grenade launchers, something like that.
mhm,
On one of the screenshots, we have a unit that's looking similar to Giselle's, so long range rifles,
I mean, it makes
and
sense.
something that looks like a celestial hurricane. So something on the chariots, like a ball of jade, and it's probably magic buffing stuff or something. It's a very cool creative thing that's on the screenshot. Also, we have a dragon, one of the dragon that is spitting fire in air at Furious, and it's looking
So good.
sick.
Oh, it's so good. I want to see sync fighting between like flying the Dragon Lords and our boy Kairos, that sort of stuff.
I hope that there will be an animation in there. I don't know,
I hope
like
so.
there's an animation between two dragons right now in Warhammer when they fly
Yes.
above and they're fighting. This is fantastic. I want those animations to be in the air also right now, especially that Warhammer 3 is getting the ground and flying toggle off, toggle on thing.
I want to there's a lot of stuff I want. Like, there's so much open potential that is not clogged up with the pre-existing lore that they could do cool stuff with. Like, how would Emmerich react when he comes across Cathay, and it's an entire society run by a different type of dragons that are like divine in nature? Is he going to be like, how will that fit with his reality of like the elven dragons?
There are fantastic memes about Emmerich
Oh, there
and
are.
yeah, the Emmerich and Zhao. Sorry, I don't want to butcher her name. The Mia Ying. I don't know how to spell it. The Storm Dragon. So the woman that was in the trailer that had very cool badass moment when she made a hero landing, and the
Everyone
dragon
loves those.
came, and again perfect roar. Like the sound was whoa. Got it gave me chills, and I even showed this trailer to my wife because I always show things like that to my wife, and she was like, "This is good." And she's not a fan of Chinese culture, by the way. She don't like the Eastern culture. Yeah, I love Japanese and Chinese culture.
I do
When
as well.
she does not,
I'm a big
and
fan of Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
yeah, and she liked it. Last thing, and I will let you speak about the units, is that they said that the roster is mostly based on spear and halberd units and defensive thing. And they have a mechanic that's only mentioned that their units will be getting bonuses when enemies in close proximity.
Mm, I mean, a lot, like a lot. Most I'd go so far as to say of like Chinese mythological heroes, famous like actual people were spear users. Makes sense to me. I'm super okay with it. Matter of fact, IRL, one of my favorite martial like weapons, like hand to hand things I like to like. Oh, that's neat. I like that. Is spears. So
Mm. I don't like spears, but
I think they're
there
really cool.
there was a very good Chinese movie, Hero. I don't know if you saw it. It was with the actor one. Hero movie.
I don't know anything about it. The only I think
Yeah, it's from 2002,
no, I don't
and
know.
one of the characters was using the spear, and the spear was, not stable. It was like a.
Wiggly.
She was bending, yeah. So the spear was bending,
Oh yeah, that's the thing.
and
Um,
and how she was
hmm.
fighting with this was quite fantastic for me. So I hope there will be units like using spear that way when it's bending.
I hope so as well. I kind of don't think so because that's a very fluid and complex thing for small units to do on the map. But it'd be cool. I like maybe a hero with a spear could do it. I'd be
Yeah.
into that.
Also, they showed some of the images for the units concept art, and I like the dragon aesthetics on every unit. It looks
Hmm.
very, very,
Speaking
very.
of dragons, really quickly, this is I feel like really important to talk about. The main feature of some of their of Cathay is like their lords turn into dragons. That's a
Yeah,
pretty big deal. If that sounds like a rework on the pre-existing transformation mechanics that are in the
yeah.
games,
That we have since Mal's DLC, the Shadow of the
because
Blade.
as I understand it, he's not actually transforming; he's being replaced with a new unit entirely. Is that right?
Yes, yes,
Which not so great if that's like the
yeah.
entire point of your legendary lord.
If how I understand it, the rework is that unit will be replaced, but you will be able to get back and what if Dragon was injured, it will be reflected on the unit. So I hope that's how it will be working.
I hope so too. I hope this also means maybe we can finally just leave our legendary lords on their mounts and we can dismount mid battle if we want to.
Uh, this is also the thing that I hope that they will fix in Warhammer 3 is that making foot lords less useless.
Hmm.
They need a lot of changes with this to make it working. But uh, I think it's all with the units. Do you
I
have
think so
anything to
too.
add about the units? So let's get to what we know about the campaign. We have information that the Great Bastion that is on the north will be one of mechanics in the campaign that you will be able to venture from it, makes expedition to defeat chaos, and you will be able to upgrade it. This is really all that we know about the Great Bastion. I hope it won't be just, a settlement with unique buildings, that it will have own branching upgrade paths and really making it cool, defending it with cool siege map that I hope they will show.
Yeah, I'm kind of afraid that it's just going to be another situation like the gates on Ulthuan, where it's just that you upgrade this over time, you don't really interact with it. I'm afraid of it being something similar to that.
It's same as
Um,
with Empire of Lords, so
hmm,
just ignore
yeah,
them.
I can't imagine it can't be a focus of your campaign to have it be that simplistic though. So I'm hoping, I'm expecting either it to have like really powerful stuff on itself and surrounding regions, or the more you upgrade it, the more you get faction wide bonuses or something. I don't know.
Mm, yeah, yeah. I hope that it will having the stuff that Three Kingdoms had with the building. So
Hmm.
branching everywhere. So each player Grand Bastion will be different. And also we have mention of Ivory Road. So it's like a silk path that we have in real life. So Ivory Road is like a trading route with the old world that will be giving a lot of money and incredible wealth to the Cathay that we don't know nothing more about this.
I I imagine like it'll also give like diplomatic bonuses or something like that as well. And
And I hope that it will be linked with the theme that Cathay is most populated faction in the world of Warhammer, at least as
mhm.
they said.
Cathay is apparently super incredible on like all fronts.
Yeah, it's
I
I was not expecting that at all.
yeah, I don't really like, because right now they seem kind of infallible. Like everything they do is we did it, we're the best at it, and we've been doing it for a long time, better than you. And I'm just like, all right, what are they bad at? What gives them character? That sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah. From what I see, I'm really not worried about Cathay because so I mentioned it several times previously. I really don't like minor factions becoming bigger good factions like Norska
Mhm.
was, like Vampire Coast was, because with all respect to Creative Assembly, there are problems with those factions, and Cathay is looking like the general idea and core is good, and they just expanded on it, and
It
they
almost feels like Cathay is like a bigger like. It feels like they're putting a lot of focus on Cathay as opposed to any of the other factions. Doesn't it feel that way to you?
Yes, it feels that way because, as we were saying previously, Kislev was looking very bad for me, especially with the bears and ice magic everywhere.
And
Kislev is looking more
chaos.
magical faction than High Elves right now. And it goes to the point that we can talk about right now that Cafe is looking so good that it makes me worried about the state of the factions right now overall in Warhammer. We were talking about it in the previous podcast, the thing that we don't like in the game. And one of the points was that the gaps between factions are very huge right now in the game. And
Yes.
I think Cathay is increasing the bar so much right now with how the roster is looking, how the models are different for every unit. Those campaign mechanics sounds very good, aesthetics, everything. That the bar is so high that the Empire looks bland as f in compared to Cathay.
Yeah. Full transparency. I can't play the Empire, in 2 unless I have like somewhere between 30 and 40 Empire specific mods that give them more character, like
Yes,
knightly
yes.
orders and just more legendary lords, stuff like that.
Yeah, especially that we have much more lore about Empire than the Cathay. And
There's
they
so much you could do.
yeah, and I'm afraid that CA won't be getting back to old factions.
Do you think they'll add what's his name, Volton? It says like free LC for the Empire once Game 3 drops.
Warhammer. Empire is the only faction that didn't have the free legendary lords still. So mm, this should be Boris because people want Boris.
Well,
But
yeah.
uh, it all goes to the problem that Empire is a very blunt faction in terms of aesthetics when it should not compared to Cathay right now. So Cathay looks great, but it makes the problem that all the rest is looking bad.
Yeah. I'm
maybe not bad, just underperforming.
I'm kind of anticipating. Oh, excuse me. I'm not anticipating. I'm hoping that at
Hmm.
the end of the cycle, they have all their DLC out. They have all this out. They have everything they want out. Because honestly, on that side of the world, there's not a lot. There's not a lot of lore for that part of the world. So I'm hoping that we're going to get something similar to our last DLC, The Silence and the Fury, where they took a pre-existing faction and they just give it a complete overhaul plus new stuff if you buy the DLC.
Hmm.
That's what I'm hoping. Like a year or two of we're cleaning up game 1 and 2 to make it on par with game 3. That's what I'm hoping for.
My hope is not for the mechanic really to be reworked right now, as I think that won't happen. I just want visuals to be updated for Warhammer One factions, especially because they look very bad in compared to what we saw. How Kislevites warriors are looking like a gym gods. They should not. They are not that bulky faction. It's not like everyone is pumping every day.
Just lifting bears. There's
Pumping
enough bears for
and
everyone to lift one
praying to Kasarina for ice magic. And also they are riding a bear doing all of this.
in the snow, uphill both ways.
Yeah, and
Um,
I think it will be
I
all.
just it feels good. It feels good. I love Cathay. I'm not happy about there being a delay, but I understand and I think it's overall better for everyone that there is one. Because I also am wholly and totally against game developers putting their employees through intense crunch periods. And I would not want them to have to go through that just so I can pretend to be a little Dragon Man on screen for a little while.
Yeah, it's looking very good, and Cathay is the selling point of Warhammer 3 for me right now. And why Chaos is not the selling point at all for me, even that Chaos is my favorite Warhammer lore faction and tabletop and like everything. We'll be talking in another podcast, another episode. Yeah, that would be all. Luz, you want to add anything on the end?
Uh, More Zinch, please, and or Nagash. Thank you.
Yeah. Remember that you can subscribe us, hit that bell notification button so you'll get a notification. Like this video if you like it. And we also are on Encore, so a platform that adds our podcast to like everyone, like Spotify, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Google Podcasts, and Breaker. So if you like it, please subscribe us. And until next episode.
Have fun, guys. This was the Loose News Moose Goose, and
We need to make some good endings.